What if I told you that reality is trying to communicate with you every single day? Imagine subtle messages weaving their way through your life, moments so precise, so perfectly timed, that they can't possibly be coincidences. The song that plays just when you think of someone, the number that keeps showing up, the stranger you bump into with the exact answer you've been searching for. You've brushed these off as mere chance, but deep down you've always felt there was more to it. And you're right, synchronicities aren't random accidents. They are messages guiding you. For centuries, people have looked for meaning beyond what meets the eye. Ancient civilizations, mystics, philosophers, they all understood something that we've been taught to ignore. Society's structure, our education, and even science itself have conditioned us to dismiss these meaningful moments, labeling them as coincidences. But what if everything around us is connected, and these moments are actually signposts nudging us towards something greater? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and reveal what synchronicities really are, why they happen, and how you can use them to reshape your life. From the moment you were born, you were taught to see the world through the lens of logic, structure, and predictability. Everything had to have a rational explanation, and if it didn't, it was brushed aside as coincidence or imagination. But what if that conditioning wasn't a mere accident? What if it was designed to blind you from the deeper forces at work, forces that have always been there, guiding you? Think back to your childhood. Do you remember how you were naturally attuned to patterns, to energy, to intuition? How certain events seemed to align perfectly, as if the universe was trying to tell you something. You could sense when something was about to happen, or knew instinctively when someone was thinking about you. But when you shared these experiences, what did you hear? It's just your imagination, they said. You're just being overly sensitive. Slowly, you learned to stop paying attention to those subtle nudges. You were conditioned to trust only what you could measure or see, and any feeling that didn't fit within that framework was discarded as nonsense. Education played a massive role in suppressing this innate connection. Schools didn't teach you how to listen to your intuition or recognize synchronicities. They taught you to memorize facts, follow rules, and obey authority. Creativity, imagination, and abstract thinking were sidelined in favor of logical reasoning and hard data. If you couldn't measure it, weigh it, or see it, it wasn't real. And so the system convinced you that the world was just a mechanical machine, one that operated based on cause and effect. It removed the mystery. It made everything seem random, disconnected, and meaningless. But here's the thing they didn't tell you. Some of the greatest minds in history, people like Carl Jung, Nikola Tesla, and Albert Einstein, all recognized that reality wasn't as random as we've been taught. They understood that synchronicities, patterns, and hidden connections weren't just coincidences. They were clues to a greater truth. Yet, society ridicules anyone who takes these experiences seriously. Talk about synchronicities openly, and you're labeled as superstitious or irrational. People who embrace these signs are cast aside as spiritual nuts, while those who conform to the rigid, materialist worldview are praised as intelligent, logical, and reasonable. This isn't an accident. It's social conditioning. Because the moment you begin paying attention to synchronicities, something profound starts to happen. You start realizing you're connected to something much larger than yourself. And that realization, that awareness, is the key. By the way, if you're already feeling a chill down your spine, hit that like button. Trust me, you won't want to miss where this is going. Let's dive deeper. The real reason they don't want you to notice synchronicities is because they reveal a crack in the illusion. They show you that reality is not just a cold, indifferent machine, but an interconnected web that responds to your thoughts, emotions, and energy. Once you start seeing the patterns, you can't unsee them, and that's when the real awakening begins. Now think back to a moment in your life when you experienced something so perfectly timed, so precise, that it felt impossible for it to be random. Maybe you thought of someone you hadn't spoken to in years, and they called you out of the blue. Or perhaps you opened a book to a random page, and the words you saw answered the exact question that had been on your mind. Maybe you started seeing a sequence of numbers, and 1 love 222, 333, showing up everywhere, as if reality itself was leaving clues in your path. These aren't accidents, they're messages, and the more you pay attention, the more they appear. But here's the secret: synchronicities aren't just coincidences, they are deliberate signals from a deeper intelligence, a force that has been quietly guiding you your entire life. The universe isn't a collection of random, disconnected events. It's an interconnected field of energy and consciousness. Every thought you have, every intention you set, every emotion you experience, sends out a frequency like a radio signal. And synchronicity, they are the universe's way of responding. They are the bridge between the seen and the unseen, between the physical and the metaphysical, between the conscious and the subconscious. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in modern psychology, coined the term synchronicity after witnessing countless examples of events aligning in ways that defied logic. He believed these meaningful coincidences weren't random, they were expressions of a deeper, hidden order of reality, a concept that ancient spiritual traditions have understood for centuries. Eastern philosophies call it karma, mystics refer to it as divine timing, quantum physicists describe it as non-locality, the idea that everything in the universe is fundamentally connected, beyond space and time. But mainstream science, it avoids this topic, dismissing it as mere illusion. Despite the overwhelming evidence to the contrary, the scientific community clings to the belief that everything is random, meaningless, and explainable by chance. But let's consider this for a moment. The entire universe is built on patterns, structures, and interconnected systems. Nature follows fractal geometry. The orbits of planets align in mathematically perfect ratios. Your DNA is encoded with repeating sequences. Everything in existence operates through patterns, cycles, and relationships. So why would human experience be any different? Why wouldn't your thoughts, emotions, and decisions follow an underlying structure? The answer is they do, and synchronicities are the proof. These moments are the glitches in the matrix, the moments when the underlying order of the universe reveals itself. And once you start seeing them, you begin to realize that reality is far more malleable than you were ever taught. But if synchronicities are messages, then the question remains, who or what is sending them? Some believe synchronicities come from a higher version of yourself, guiding you toward the right path. Others think they're signals from the collective unconscious, that vast, shared reservoir of human thought and experience that Jung described. Some even believe that synchronicities are hints from an external intelligence, whether you call it the universe, God, source energy, or perhaps a simulation trying to communicate with its players. Whatever their origin, one thing is certain: synchronicities are not meaningless. They are invitations to wake up, to pay attention, and to shift your awareness from autopilot to conscious creation. Because once you start recognizing them, the illusion of randomness begins to crumble. And that leads us to the next question. If synchronicities aren't random, then how exactly do they work? What's happening beneath the surface that causes these perfect alignments to appear in your life? The answer lies in understanding the hidden mechanics behind reality itself. If synchronicities are messages from a deeper intelligence, then how do they actually work? What is the mechanism that causes these perfect alignments to appear when they do? At the core of synchronicities lies a simple yet powerful principle. Your mind is not just a passive observer of reality. It is an active participant in shaping it. Modern neuroscience has confirmed this. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system, RS, a network in your brainstem that filters reality based on what you focus on. Have you ever noticed that once you buy a new car, you suddenly see that exact model everywhere? It's not that the cars weren't there before, it's just that your mind wasn't filtering them in. The same thing happens with synchronicity. The moment you start noticing them, believing in them, and expecting them, your brain shifts focus, and suddenly, they begin to appear more frequently. But it goes even deeper than neuroscience. Quantum physics has long suggested that consciousness plays a fundamental role in shaping reality. The famous double-slit experiment showed that the mere act of observation changes the behavior of particles at a subatomic level. This means that reality is not a fixed, independent structure. It is responsive. Your thoughts, emotions, and focus literally interact with the fabric of the universe. Now combine this with the law of vibration, one of the fundamental principles of metaphysics. Everything in the universe is energy, vibrating at different frequencies. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs also carry specific vibrations. These frequencies dictate what you attract into your life. If you're constantly thinking about fear, scarcity, or limitation, your energy aligns with those experiences, and you begin noticing patterns that reinforce them. But when you shift your frequency, when you focus on alignment, purpose, and synchronicities, reality starts to mirror that back to you. This is why people who awaken to synchronicities suddenly experience more of them. It's not just that they're noticing them more, it's that their energy is shifting, and reality is responding accordingly. When you focus on signs, patterns, and messages, you are tuning your consciousness into the hidden order of the universe, like turning a radio dial to the right frequency. But it doesn't stop there. Your subconscious mind plays a massive role in generating synchronicities. While your conscious mind focuses on daily tasks, your subconscious is constantly processing deeper connections, linking information, and picking up on patterns that your conscious mind may miss. When you set an intention, whether consciously or unconsciously, your subconscious starts aligning events in ways that lead you toward that outcome. This is why people who strongly believe in synchronicities experience them more frequently. Their subconscious is actively participating in the alignment of reality. Skeptics might argue that all of this is just selective attention, that synchronicities are nothing more than random events your brain chooses to notice. But if that were the case, why do these events often carry such deep personal meaning? Why do they align so perfectly with your thoughts, emotions, and inner experiences at the exact right moment? And why do they have the uncanny ability to guide people toward life-changing decisions? The answer is simple. Synchronicities are not coincidences. They are a form of communication between your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and the deeper intelligence that governs reality. The key is knowing how to work with them, rather than against them. Once you start intentionally aligning with synchronicities, they don't just appear more often, they become a tool for transformation. Which brings us to an even bigger revelation. Why do some people experience synchronicities constantly, while others never seem to notice them at all? What separates those who live in perfect alignment from those who remain disconnected? The answer is awareness, alignment, and belief. Some people live their entire lives disconnected, trapped in a mindset of logic, doubt, and rigid materialism. They've been conditioned to believe that life is purely mechanical, that things happen due to cause and effect, that luck is random, and that the universe is indifferent. This belief system acts as a mental barrier blocking synchronicities from appearing in their lives. Even when meaningful coincidences happen, they brush them off as irrelevant, refusing to acknowledge the deeper patterns at play. Think of it like this. Imagine you're in a pitch-black room, filled with radio waves. Hundreds of stations are playing at the same time, but if you don't have a radio tuned to the right frequency, you won't hear anything. The same applies to synchronicity. If your mind isn't tuned into the frequency of alignment, you'll never notice the signals that reality is constantly sending you. Now contrast that with people who live in tune with synchronicities. These individuals aren't special. They have simply trained their minds to be receptive to the signs around them. They don't dismiss strange alignments as mere chance. Instead, they pay attention, trust their intuition, and follow the pattern. And here's the fascinating part. The more you acknowledge synchronicities, the more they happen. This is because of two key factors: the subconscious mind and the law of vibration. Your subconscious mind is constantly absorbing information beyond what your conscious mind is aware of. It picks up on subtle patterns, hidden connections, and unseen opportunities. When you focus on synchronicities, you're essentially programming your subconscious to seek out more of them. It's like telling your mind this is important, and from that moment it starts filtering reality to bring those signs to your attention more frequently. This is the subconscious connection. It's why some people seem to have uncanny luck. They aren't lucky, they are unconsciously directing their reality, aligning themselves with opportunities, and noticing signs that others simply ignore. Their subconscious is wired for synchronicity. Moving on to the law of vibration, everything in the universe operates on frequency, including your thoughts and emotions. When you are in a low vibrational state, filled with fear, doubt, or negativity, your energy contracts and your awareness shrinks. This makes it harder to recognize synchronicities, because your perception is locked into survival mode, focused on immediate concerns rather than the bigger picture. On the other hand, when you raise your vibration through practices like gratitude, mindfulness, curiosity, and intention, you become more aligned with the flow of the universe. Your energy expands, and you start attracting synchronicities, because your consciousness is now operating on a frequency that allows them to come through. This is why people who meditate, practice mindfulness, or engage in deep introspection often report a massive increase in synchronicity. They've cleared the mental noise and tuned their awareness to the hidden order of reality. But there's one more crucial element: trust. People who experience frequent synchronicities are those who trust the process. They don't question whether a sign is real or not. They follow it. They act on the signals, and in doing so they reinforce the pattern. When you acknowledge, trust, and act on synchronicities, they multiply. Here's where most people fail. They experience synchronicities, but don't take action. They see the signs but hesitate, second guess, or ignore them entirely. This weakens the connection and causes the synchronicities to fade. Synchronicities aren't just messages, they are opportunities for alignment. The universe is showing you a door, but it's up to you to step through. Now the real question is, how do you strengthen this connection? How do you recognize, interpret, and act on synchronicities in a way that allows them to become a guiding force in your life? It starts with learning how to decode the signs. Synchronicities are happening around you all the time, but the problem is that most people don't know how to recognize them, or worse, they dismiss them as random. Once you understand how to identify these patterns and decode their meaning, you'll begin to see that reality has been speaking to you all along. The first step to working with synchronicities is awareness. You need to shift your mindset from assuming that life is random to understanding that everything is connected. The universe communicates through symbols, patterns, and timing. These signs will often appear in three distinct forms: numbers, symbolic encounters, and unlikely events. Let's start with numbers. Have you ever noticed the same numbers appearing over and over again in your life? Maybe it's 1111, 222. Numbers carry vibrational frequencies, and when they start showing up in your life, it means something is shifting in your reality. In ancient mysticism, numbers were considered the blueprint of creation, a language that communicated the fundamental order of the universe. Seeing specific sequences is often a signal that you're in alignment, that your energy is harmonizing with the universe. Pay attention to what you are thinking or feeling when these numbers appear. Your subconscious is trying to tell you something. Then there are symbolic encounters, signs that appear in the form of objects, animals, songs, or symbols that hold personal meaning for you. Maybe you hear a song at just the right moment, or a phrase gets repeated by different people throughout the day. Perhaps an animal crosses your path, or you see a symbol that resonates deeply with you. These aren't just random occurrences, they are part of a larger message. The key is to trust that if something feels significant, it probably is. Next, consider those unlikely events, the moments when things line up perfectly in ways that logic can't explain. You're about to give up on a dream, and then suddenly an opportunity lands in your lap. Or just when you need it most, you randomly bump into the right person at exactly the right time. These moments aren't random, they are guiding forces designed to push you in the right direction. But how do you decode these synchronicities? It starts with asking the right question. When a synchronicity appears, stop and reflect. What was I thinking or feeling right before this happened? What decision am I currently facing? And how does this relate? Does this confirm or challenge something I've been questioning? Is there a pattern here? Has this happened before? One of the most powerful tools you can use is a synchronicity journal. Start writing down every time something unusual or meaningful happens. Over time, you'll begin to see patterns forming. You'll notice recurring symbols, repeated messages, and clear guidance emerge. The more you track synchronicities, the more they will appear, and as you document them, your awareness grows, helping you to better interpret the signs in your life. But here's the secret: recognizing synchronicities is only the first step. Acting on them is what transforms your life. If you see a repeating sign telling you to take action, do it. If you keep encountering the same message, it's because the universe is waiting for you to respond. The people who live in flow with synchronicities are the ones who trust and act, and by doing so they create a life that seems to unfold effortlessly, as if everything is aligning for them. This leads us to the final piece of the puzzle. How do you consciously attract more synchronicities into your life? Because once you understand how to open the channel, you can begin using synchronicities as a tool to create real change in your life. Recognizing synchronicities is one thing, but learning how to use them as a tool for transformation is where the real power lies. The truth is, synchronicities are not just signs, they are invitations. They are opportunities to shift, to align, to step into a reality where things flow effortlessly in your favor. The question is, are you paying attention? And more importantly, are you willing to act? Most people treat synchronicities as something mystical but passive, as if they are simply fun coincidences to notice. But in reality, synchronicities are a form of direct communication between you and the deeper intelligence of the universe. They are signals that you are in alignment, or warnings that you are not. The people who experience the most synchronicities are not just lucky, they are conscious creators of their reality. They are aware of the patterns, they trust the signs, and they take action. So how do you use synchronicities to reshape your life? It comes down to 3 key steps: intention, alignment, and action. First, set a clear intention. Synchronicities respond to focus. The more specific your thoughts and desires, the clearer the signs become. If you want guidance, ask for it. Literally set an intention. Show me a sign that I'm on the right path. Reveal to me the next step toward my purpose. Bring me the right people, opportunities, and circumstances. The key is to be open to how the answers come. The universe does not communicate in linear, predictable ways. It speaks through symbols, emotions, and experiences. The more you ask, the more you will start to notice the signs appearing all around you. Second, align your energy. Synchronicities are a reflection of your vibrational state. If you're in a state of resistance, doubt, fear, or overanalyzing, you block the flow. But when you step into a state of trust, excitement, and receptivity, the signs begin to accelerate. This is why synchronicities tend to spike during periods of major change, when you are stepping into an unknown but aligned path. One of the fastest ways to increase synchronicities is to raise your frequency. Practices like meditation, gratitude, visualization, and deep self-reflection put you in a state of openness where synchronicities can flow freely. If you've ever experienced a period in life where everything seemed to magically fall into place, it wasn't magic, it was alignment. Finally, take aligned action. This is where most people fail. They see the signs but hesitate. They second guess, wait for more confirmation, or procrastinate. But synchronicities are not just messages to observe, they are catalysts for action. If you keep seeing the same number, phrase, or symbol over and over again, it's not random, it's a nudge. If you're being drawn toward a new path, a new person, or a new opportunity, the universe is opening a door for you. The key is to walk through it.